So as much as governments rely on funding from taxes, I think that there needs to be a distinction between lobbying, and there's very differences in contrast. So a self-sufficient government is one way, taxation is another way, but also removing the ability of lobbying and making more of a just and fair tax system that works all the way across the board. That's where I think it needs to be more so put into place, and also strengthening a government, not weakening it. Let's look at this in another way. If you remove government ruling, corporations would get away with putting more poisons in food. They would also build more poisonous houses for you to live in, without anybody to hold them accountable or put rulings in for this. You would be left in some very dire situations. Also, wages would stagnate more than what they already have done. Agree that a lot more needs to be done, especially in strengthening government, and therefore using and utilizing the power of law. When we say that we would own these hydrogen machines, different things like that, space programs, we meaning that they could never be sold. They can't be sold and put a CEO in these things. No. And then when the public, everybody actually, pays the bill, it goes into the tax pot, not a profit or a pocket for profit. There would need to be, where we have housing acts, where we have any acts, statutes, or anything else like that, they need to be more firmer, more harder. That if landlords abuse any of the rules that have been put in place, that they are held accountable. All individuals that are... So you have chains of command inside a company, right? So the individual at the top, CEO. Then we go down, all the way down to managers and everyday workers, yes? That if there is a level where they have left a dangerous house, haven't followed the Housing Act, all of the individuals that are involved with that will face court. And not court, just here we're going to fine you there. You will get that too. But you will also face imprisonment. Depending on the severity of what you've done and the negligence that you have done, you will face prison. And I think that this should be accountable across the whole entire board. That when it comes from putting poisonous products or ingredients inside foods, all that have known about that will be put before a judge. You will also be fined, but you will also face prison. Why is that? Well, you see, big changes then start to happen. Much more healthier foods. Companies that want to rise up in the meantime will know the boundary between the two. Good food, good population, healthy population. He'll do more than just taxate on top of these things. This can be done too. So when you look at that and we see the fact that we've got lobbyists, where corporations can go in and lobby. Here's some money. Now I want this, this and this. And at any moment, that if a government is run by lobbying, because you need funds in order to run a government, the funds can be withdrawn. Therefore, this stagnates the government. And I think the government should be more adhering to the majority as opposed to the few. They need to be more adhering to the people than they do to the money aspect of it. Corporations. I've seen what it's like with corporations when they don't follow the rules. I've lived it. I've experienced it, and I'm sure many other people have as well. And again, if you withdraw from a government, I mean, you hear a lot of this hoo-ha going on that, they're all bad, they're this, that, and the other, and everything else. Certain leaders, political parties, sure, no doubt. But with an ever-changing system, where people are put in power, other people are then put in power, and other people are put in power, I think this makes it very unlikely that we're going to see this. But yeah, and I think that taxes and a fairer tax system would definitely help all people. And if they don't pay it, then we'll repossess their companies. No different that if you refuse to pay your taxes, someone will come in and take your stuff. When it comes to working tax, there is no choice. And then I think we start seeing an equal. This is where we get equal. Sometimes we ask for unity, and other times we must enforce it. And then it then becomes a thing of the people have the power, unitedly, to be able to do good in society. You can imagine it, no taxes, no cops come. No taxes, poisonous products. No taxes, no enforcement, bad houses. They will build them with anything. No taxes, no loft insulation, no warm houses, no new windows, no new heaters. You can keep going. Cars will be built in a bodge and sprocket that if anything is risky, they won't care. No corporation is going to care, because in the end, it's all about more money, more money, more money. Fill my pocket, fill my pocket. When we look at government, you don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face. You need to think about things very, very carefully. Would you be getting a good deal on stuff? If not, for the hard-working men and women that have risen up over time and put in acts and statutes for everyone's safety. Who will maintain the roads at speeds? And stick to the highway code, let's say? No one. No one. Who will maintain the roads that you drive on? No one. Who will protect your health? No one. Who will give you better wages, better paid jobs? No one. And I think that there needs to be a lot more done in terms of the cost of living. You could argue that that's a direct result of government. Perhaps their inability to push further in order to make it more mandatory to lift this payment for people that are in work. Not paying a tax and dropping down a government, it's like jumping out of a frying pan and into the fire, literally. There will be no rights for you. And sure, there has probably been a little bit of a gap between these, but a time to change and unify and make sure these hit in a lot more harder and go in a lot more faster. And therefore, any company, I will help anybody, anywhere where I possibly can to make really good companies. This I can really think up. And I would make sure that I hire a lot of individuals to think more jobs up for individuals that use their quantum mindset. And you can be somebody who is on benefits. You can be somebody who's a trucker. You can be anybody anywhere that comes up with an idea that perhaps you might not want to do yourself, but yet share your idea. Let it go to somebody else who can put into this. They can get a decent wage, employ people and give them a decent wage, but the top profit of the company must go into the tax pot in order for it to bring it down, but also keep a self-running government. That the moment that it stops, the people have the power. You see, this is where you get real change. This is where it comes from. Not from lobbying, because there will be no way that changes will be done. Sure, the healthcare system, it needs a lot more. It needs a lot more going into it. And if it's bought out by corporations, then we'll start another one. Water companies. Sure, you've got it at the moment. We'll begin converting salt water immediately. And then we'll bring in better, fresh water. Again, this puts it into a tax system. And it will be far more cheaper. That by natural default, everyone will see its benefits and begin, like a wildfire, to spread and move over to these new endeavours, adventures, that then begin to start benefiting our roads. New hospitals, RV dentists. You know, and then this starts to move over. Out with the old and in with the new. One that does want to get you better. One that will get you better. And then this will begin to support governments alike and then begin to uplift everybody in the entirety of the nation. where we can get affordable healthcare for everybody, regardless of your background, or you're working or you're not working, begin to bring real fixes. And again, like I said, anybody on benefit and you've got a good noddle and you have a few hours free time to jot down some really good ideas, some really good ones that can really help with this, you're just as valuable as anybody who is working, down to a farmer, up to somebody who's selling your food. And the mundane tasks can be transitioned over into robotics. Again, we would incentivize growing very good, healthy foods. Get in schools to support healthy foods for the schools. The children will learn this, valuable as anything. These ideas then go on to support supermarkets, where we can then begin to grow our own produce in our own shops that then begin, no profit goes into somebody's pocket, it goes back into the tax pot. We get to space. We will not hold our value on pieces of gold and silver. We'll hold our value on elements from the universe. And we will bring these in. Again, what's important? Steel, iron. Make steel from these ingredients that we bring in. Water, food, good health. Oxygen. Converting carbon into oxygen, but not only converting too much oxygen, we also want carbon in order to promote our food. Above ground farms, ones that see the elements, farmers are really good for this. But a new dawn is upon us to be able to build underground farms that are element proof. If there's a flood, it doesn't matter, that's protected. If there's a massive fire somewhere, a drought, it doesn't matter. These are all protected. Therefore, we are all protected in this. Together, we'll always have food. The profit pot will move into the tax pot. Therefore, it makes a better world for all of us. Anybody on benefits, something that is very good at giving, and everyone's, oh yeah, we need that. Oh, cool, this is water, I'm paying a bill. And the bill goes on to, yes, take care of building more of this infrastructure. But also, it could be put into a pot that is designated for people who are ill, people who are sick. The money will be there. New roads, this business takes care of this one. But coming down much more harder on any entity that feels that they can poison people deliberately, overlook housing acts and see profit before they see people. That will stop. That will definitely end. And it will mean reaching out to people to see and say when they see something. Reaching out to the right body. Anyone that overlooks their duty in this shall be held accountable for it. There may be corruption in the world, sure. It's inevitability, right? But the way we stamp it out, that's what makes a real difference. So yeah, I'm going to leave this one here because I think it covers it very good.